I'm about to enter one of the most historical places in Kazan. It's called Iske Tatar Bistäse, or Old Tatar Settlements. This is where the history of the Tatars in 18th century started. Around the 17th century, the politics of the forceful Christianity among Tatars was at its full force. Not everyone agreed with that. That's why some of the wealthier Tatars created their own settlements in this area. It's right around the center city Kazan. By coming in here, you will be introduced to the purest, most authentic Tatar ornaments, traditions, Tatar food, Tatar apparel. Every corner of this area, of this district, is soaked and filled with this historical, authentic Tatar energy. Let's check it out together. Iske Tatar Bistäse, or Old Tatar Settlements District, was established in the 16th century after Kazan was conquered by Ivan IV, or Ivan the Terrible, and very first residents of this area were Tatar military men and wealthy merchants. Initially, the Iske Tatar Bistäse consisted of one single street along the lake of Koban. It started growing around the 18th century when the Russian Empress Ekaterina the Great gave Tatars permission to build stone mosques. Tatars were so grateful to her for this that they even lovingly gave her a nickname, Ebi Pocha, which translates as Grandmother Queen. With this, Iske Tatar Bistäse started growing. It got a few more streets, a square, and even its own governing administration. This is the statue of Shihabuddin Merjani. He was a well-known Tatar scientist of the 19th century. Most times, Shihabuddin Merjani was considered to have advanced outlook in life. He got educated in a few madrasas, and madrasa is a Tatar religious school, and at the age of 17, he became an educator himself. His biggest goal was to reform Tatar education and make it more worldly. Later in life, he became the imam, which is the main priest of the first Tatar cathedral mosque, which was later named after him. Right behind me, there is a mosque named after Shihabuddin Merjani, and it says that it was built in 1767. That's an original mosque. Of course, it was reconstructed and improved a little bit, but otherwise, this is the original mosque. It had several names in the past. At one point, it was sponsored one of the wealthiest Tatar men in Kazan. His last name was Yunusov. He sponsored the construction of this mosque. That's why it was named after him. For many, many years, Shihabuddin Merjani was the main imam at this mosque. That's why later it was named after him. The interesting fact about this mosque is that after Ekaterina gave permission to build mosques out of stone or bricks, Tatars started building this first cathedral mosque with tall minarets, which was unseen of before. And some sneaky local governors informed Empress Ekaterina about this, to which she responded, "I gave them space on the ground, however, they are free to build their mosques as tall toward the sky as they want, as the sky doesn't fall under my domain." And this is where two historical eras meet together in one place. The 21st century scooters parked next to the 19th century homes. Imagine that. There are quite a few shops with the traditional national apparel and food at Iske Tatar Bistäse, where you can purchase çuek, Tatar women's shoes, çitik, women's boots decorated in Tatar traditional floral style, tubete, men's Tatar hat, and some other interesting items. As I was walking around, I discovered this cute little square where you can stop by to have some food, walk around, and even say hi to a peacock. At the same complex, I discovered a real house of a Tatar merchant who ran sugar business in the 19th century. This house was built in 1870 and recently was made into a museum of Tatar Household to demonstrate how wealthy Tatars used to live almost 2 centuries ago. The house has 2 floors. The owner, Burhanuddin Mullin, and his family would live on the top floor, and on the first floor they had their kitchen, and that's where their housekeepers would also stay. Also, the first floor was divided into male and female sides, as men and women were not allowed to be in the same room together. Here they have items that were in use during those times. As you may notice, a lot of fabric items like clothing or various towels and cloths have hand-embroidered decorations on them. One of the main requirements for Tatar women was mastering handwork around the house. Embroidery, knitting, sewing, cooking, keeping the house clean and neat, while their husbands would conquer the outside world. Back then, they had strong traditional values. Just for a few minutes, I also got to experience what a Tatar woman was all about. Does the kalfak look good on me? What do you think? These things are parts of women's apparel. So for example, this thing was called izu. Whenever you need to cover your front area here, you would put it over your dress, just to kind of cover yourself, because Tatar women were modest. It was important. There was a saying in Tatar that first you would hear the Tatar woman when she enters the room, and then you would see her, because they would wear this thing, izu. This thing is called chulpa. Tatar women would have long, normally long dark hair, and they would braid their hair and then attach this at the tip of the braid. And then again, as they walk, this would all dangle. This couple here is wearing simple clothing which normally would be worn by the working class people, such as housekeepers and peasants, versus these types of clothes made out of expensive fabrics and hand embroidered with beads were worn by a boy, which is a wealthy man, and his wife, Ostavike. This is a traditional Tatar apparel. So I already have a little hat on my head, and I'm about to put this, I can't remember the name of it, this thingy, and it's decorated in traditional Tatar ornament in the shape of tulips. You can see traditional tulip ornaments on any Tatar items, clothing, buildings, even on the coat of arms. As in Islam, tulip is considered as a flower of Allah. All the cooking was done in a stone furnace or peach in Tatar. They would make soups and bake pies in here. In poorer household with a lot of children, people would even sleep on top of the peach. Especially elder family members would often sleep there, as it was always warm there. Cleanliness is extremely important for Tatars and Muslims in general. This type of kamlan or a pitcher is still a common household item even to this day. It's often used to do ablution before namaz or prayers. And at the end of the tour, we had Tatar tea with some delicious traditional dessert. Thank you for watching this video until the very end. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new today. Like, comment and subscribe below, and I'll see you in my next videos. Huşavız. Mwah!